Welcome to Season 3 of Trap Talk.
Brought to you by Craig Off, the choice.
Hello, Trap Talk listeners. I'm your host, Zach Nannini, and I'm here with the one and only Richard Marshall Jr., who is on the road. Ricky, how's it going today?
Good. I'm currently down at the Silver Dollar Golf and Trap Club, staying in the Marriott in Oldsmar. So yeah, it's been on the road, buddy.
Yeah, hey, on the road is good, and
Yep.
it's always fun. Are you teaching? I'm assuming.
Yep. I did a 1-day clinic on Friday, and then a 2-day clinic today and tomorrow, and then I'm actually flying home. Actually flying into Kansas City. Tyler's picking me up, and we're heading down to Winnig to do another pattern stock. So I'm doing another duplicate, and we'll do a little Justin.
Hey, Justin's always good, and you've got multiple guns, so people don't understand. Ricky's not just a one gun guy. So when he goes in for stocks, it's usually not his trap gun. He's playing around in all other fields and all other areas as an all around shotgun shooter.
I am. I'm currently. Yep. So we're just messing around with some stuff, but yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing Bobby and Luke and get down there and get that done. And I just found out one of my students, David Freelove, he's actually going to be at Winnig on Monday.
Oh,
So
there you go. Well,
yeah,
then
so it'd be good to run into David.
you go have some lunch at the Mexican restaurant.
That's yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know the program. I've been there before, and our friend Greg Hoffman, he was just down there getting his stock for his Sporting Clays gun. So he got the chance to hang out with those guys, and he said he really, really, really loved it, and it was a great time, and they took good care of him. So it was, it's always a good experience, especially the first time. When you go down the first time, you don't really know what to expect, and then pretty soon, they've got Bondo out, they're shaving on stuff, Bill's hooking it up, and you're picking out pretty pieces of wood. So it's always a fun time.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there's nothing better than getting down there and getting that stock fitted and the relief of knowing, okay, it fits me. So
yeah, that's a good feeling, because I got to tell you, when it doesn't, it's a bad feeling. Like when you're like, oh, this stock doesn't fit, you're like, oh, this sucks, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, I think everyone's a little different, but once you get to a certain level, you can really tell if something's right or something's wrong. And I think it took me longer and longer to figure that out. But when I was starting, I didn't always know when something was wrong, because I didn't know. And now I feel like if something's wrong, I'm like, oh crap, this is a problem. What do we need to do here? What do we need to change?
that's when we're cutting stuff off at the what was it, the Spring Grand last year?
Yeah, I don't remember where I was. I was thinking I was
It
adding
was in
spacers.
Tucson. It was
Yeah, I
in
was.
Tucson.
It might
You
have
mounted
been.
my gun, and you're like, "Yeah, this is how I want it," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, we need it,"
A
But
little
yeah,
shorter, but
yeah.
but
So
but it might have been 2 years ago. But time goes by. Well, today, what our focal point today is a recap of the Autumn Grand. Now, Ricky was there for the preliminary week, and I was there for the Grand week. So we've got both sides of reporting to do today. So Ricky, when you got down there for the prelim, how was it? What were your overall thoughts of the gun club this year? Any major changes they did, and who are the hot shooters that week?
Well, I only shot 2 events. I was doing a lot of stuff, getting clinic stuff lined up. So I went down there just to kind of hang out and stay in the nice weather because we left Vegas
Yeah.
and went down. You headed to California and stuff and did some lessons over there. I think over at Livermore and Sunnyvale. So if anybody needs any help from Zach messing you up, just call me. It's okay. So
hey,
shameless
actually,
plug.
they're all really happy. I mean, I had Yusuf down there, and it was a good
Yusuf's a
time.
great guy. I tell you. What's he shooting now?
He was shooting on doubles. Was a Perazzi. It was an over under Perazzi. I think he's about ready to come over to the green side of life with
To the dark side.
Well, it's not the dark side; it's the light side. The light side.
Call me.
Yeah. No, it was a good time. We did. I did a class on Thursday at Livermore, and then I did a class on Friday at Sunnyvale, and then Saturday was Dan Benitez's funeral. So
Yeah.
that
We
was
saw
one of the main reasons why I really wanted to go home and see family and then pay him his respects. And we had at the funeral, it was everybody was there. Gary Sherrod was there, Dave Kelly
Yeah.
was there, Steve Smith was there, Wade Stanfield was there, Bobby Aruda. I don't know if you know that name from a long time ago, but
Bobby, hey, if you ask Bobby Aruda the last time we were together, he was sleeping on Dave Kelly's couch.
well, that sounds about par for the course. But
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Bobby
you
Aruba,
know,
he likes to party a little bit.
he's a good time. He's a good time for
Oh
sure. And
yeah.
there was Darvin Thomas was there, and
Okay. Yeah.
man, there was and then some of Dan's squad mates from the past were there. It was full of nostalgia. What I thought was really really cool was Dave did he did a eulogy at the
You
funeral. And
know, yeah. Dave sent me a picture, and he goes, "I didn't realize I was talking there." And I told him, I said, "Dude, I said, I know you. You did good." I said, he goes, "Well, people said I did." And he goes, "After it's done," he goes, "I really don't remember what I talked about." And it's one of
well,
those because he was so close with Dan. And, Dan's a legend. I mean, you don't just get a shotgun named after you if you're not a legend. I mean, you
no,
know, and, Dan was Perazzi. I mean,
he put him on the map. He started
yeah,
he started all the big news with Perazzi back in the day, and
yeah.
from when I spoke to people, everyone said that he was the guy to beat when he was on top. When he was in his game, he was steps beyond and ahead of everybody else. And I think and I even asked Leo one time, who the best shooter ever was, and he said that Dan was the most, I guess, longest winning or most
Consistent.
consistently ahead of
Yeah.
everybody else, like going and everybody shooting for
Dan,
second kind of thing,
Dan,
dominant.
yeah, Dan was, I mean, his averages were outrageous, and it was one of those, and he shot kind of the end of his, like, really caring about shooting and, overalls and stuff was, probably in I'm going to guess the mid 90s to late 90s. And then he just kind of like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, and you would ask Leo, and it's just like, when people ask me, hey, who's the best? My opinion, it was Leo. That was
And
me,
and
you
and
know.
I kind
But
of, I will say that I didn't get to
it
see
goes in
Dan.
eras,
I didn't get to see Dan shoot in his prime. I got to see him
prime,
shoot towards the
exactly.
tail end. And one of the
Which he
greatest
was still, hey, in the tail end though, Zach. I mean, he was dominant. If Dan was there shooting, he was a threat, no matter what.
for sure he was. And I got the privilege of being a California resident, and I watched him win the handicap at Kingsburg on Sunday, and that was for his Crown 5, which I know for him that was one of his largest achievements, because he had always said to everyone that he wanted to get all 5 titles in California, and the handicap eluded him. And he was getting to a point where he was older in the career, and he did that, and he won that shoot off, and he pretty much bursted out into tears, because it was the cap, it was the icing. I was there for that shoot off. I got to watch it. I got to watch it many shoot offs with Dan. I got to shoot with him, and when we were at the funeral, I've got some pictures of it. I'll probably send them to John for him to splice into the video a little bit. But there was so much nostalgia at the funeral, as far as, like, covers of magazines and
Yeah.
World Cups, and all these different ads that he was in for, even various hotels and casinos in
Oh,
Las Vegas. And
hey,
it wasn't like he was just some shoot promoter guy. He was in legitimate magazines across the country.
yeah, Dan was the best self promoter in the game through his whole career. I mean, hands down, you know. So it's one of those that we got to see. We got to have him on the podcast. He was, his health wasn't that good, but he was on our only live in person, we'll say, podcast at Tucson. You remember a couple years ago,
He was, and
and
it was a
that was
blessing.
pretty cool. And Dan and I mean, I'll be straight. Dan and I, never really saw eye to eye on some things, but I always gave him, like I do every legend shooter, their accolades. Hey, they're legit. So,
Well, he was definitely legit, and I just
oh,
ran
absolutely.
his numbers on the ATA, and he had 164,475 singles with a lifetime average of 98.94. He had a 250,000 handicap, 250,250 with a lifetime average of 93.97.
That's
And then
salty.
he had 126,500 doubles with a lifetime average of 97.65. And one of the
Well,
things,
hey, nothing like me in AAA, 27 AAA, almost on. Well, yeah, because I guess it's 98 on your doubles, isn't it? Or no, it is. No,
no,
it's
no, no,
96.
no,
Yeah,
96.
so he's AAA 27 AAA lifetime. I
Yeah.
mean, folks, that says something.
Well,
You
and
know,
one of the stories that was brought up, and we could talk about it for sure on the show now, but one of the things that was discussed at the funeral in the eulogy was his doubles record, and in 1997, Dan set the record
10,000.
for the average. Yeah, it was a 99.22 average for the year, but it was on 10,300 doubles targets.
Do you know why he shot so many doubles?
Yeah, I do. Dan told me that he was under a Remington contract, and he was,
Correct.
it was the last year of the contract, and they
Yep.
were paying $1,000 per hundred in doubles,
Yep.
and Dan made them pay every dollar that he humanly possibly could for that year. So it was,
Do you know how many hundreds he broke that year?
I believe it was 83,
No, I
73 or
thought it was.
83, 73 maybe.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could
I thought it
look it
was.
up, but it was
I
it
don't. It's
was
not. It's not listed on there anymore. You can't see the totals.
Well,
I
you
don't
look at
think.
it this way. I mean, he's got 10,300 doubles and a 99.22. So, he's probably had, I mean, I know it was over 70. I don't know if it quite got to 80, but I know
I
for sure it
I
was over
thought
70.
someone said it was 5,400s, and then he had something like 38.90. I don't know. You'd have to. What's the average? Well, look, average it out. So 10,700. So put in. It was 10,700. So
Yep.
put in 10,000. So 99.22. So put in 10,650 divided by 10.7 or 10. Yeah,
10,650 divided by
yeah,
10.7.
10,007.
Yeah, that's a 99.5.
Okay, so he missed then. So 50. So 22. So do he missed 70? Try
Yeah, 70.
70.
Yeah.
Show me what. So 70. So that means, yeah. So in
But you
seven.
never know. I mean, he could have had 96s in there. It's
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
it's
But let's
kind of
just say,
hard.
folks, he had over. I think Dave Kelly would know. It was
We could
over
ask
50
Sean or Dave, and
some.
we'll clarify on it. But
Actually, Sean would know. Probably
this
if you
this
text him
came
right
up
now,
at
he'd
the
be able to tell
funeral
you.
because we were talking, and I was talking about a story that Bullard had, and we were at the Livermore Rod and Gun Club a long time ago, and Bullard was going on a singles run, and this was when he was pretty deep. He was like 800 or 850 straight, and Rich Bullard finally missed one, and it was funny because we got into the clubhouse and everyone was drinking, and I was there. Dave Kelly was there. Dan Benitez was there. Steve Smith, a few others. And the comment, hey Bullard, how far did you go? You finally missed one today. This, that, and the other thing. And Kelly said, yeah, good job. For running that many in row singles or whatever. And a couple other people pitched in at their long runs. Oh, I did this, I did that. And Dan was like, that's pretty good, but I did that much in a day. And and
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
and Rich is like, in a day? He's like, what do you mean in a day? And he's like, well, I did I did it in a day, but there was two of them. He's like, what do you mean there was two of them? And he's like, well, I went down for a doubles marathon and I got like 900 and some straight before I finally missed one. So, it's crazy that he was doing it back then with the technology, the shells, the target differences, all those things. I mean, it just blows my mind. And if you don't know anything about Dan Benitez, you really need to look him up. You need to spend some time and give him some accolade, because he is one of the Mac Daddies of the shotgun for sure. So,
absolutely.
Rick, the only thing that looks better than these hats we're wearing right now is a bunch of gold and silver from Ron Prescott at Mid-State Precious Metals. Show them the goods.
Listen, all I got silver right now. I won't bring the gold out for Zach. But
I always want to get that gold.
Shotgun shells, 10-ounce bars, folks. He can do anything for you for all your shoot needs. Give Ron Prescott a call. MidstatePreciousMetals.com.
He's a great guy. Support him. He supports all the shoots. He supports Trap Talk. If you're thinking gold or silver, you need to be thinking Ron Prescott at Mid-State Precious Metals. Thank you, Ron.
That's right. Thanks for all the support.
Rick, when you're riding around in your air conditioning and your nice Can-Am, and I'm walking, I'm thinking to myself, where do I get one of these things at?
Big Red Motorsports. That's where you get one. George or Jason Lee, they'll take care of you, Zach.
I mean, I need one. I'm tired of riding on the back of that cooler. I want to sit inside that cab and roll around in style. I mean, my face is on the back, but help me out.
Listen, I'm going to move your face to the bumper is where it's going to get moved for the new one, okay? All you need is a little quiche, and we can take care of you. But listen, BigRedMotorsports.com. Thanks, Jason and George Lee and Big Red Motorsports for all the support. They'll take care of you, folks. And it's free delivery.
I just love the way they're covering all the shoots across the country, the content, the pictures, what they're doing online, what they're doing on Facebook, Instagram. What do you think?
Yeah, Trap Shooting USA. It's a great magazine. They are the official magazine of our podcast, and we are the official podcast of Trap Shooting USA. So we really appreciate it.
That's really cool. And what they got is a deal right now. If you put Trap Talk P in for the print version and Trap Talk D for the digital version, it's $19.99 for the print and $9.99 for the digital for 1 year. You're not going to find a better deal. So subscribe today. You won't regret it.
Absolutely. Thank you for all the support.
Well, back to Shoot Report. So
back to the Shoot Report.
hey, you know what? We this is Trap Talk. Sometimes we talk
That's
about
right.
stuff.
Hey, listen, I'm on the road. Some of us got to work. We can't just sit at home like Zach and play
Exactly.
tiddlywinks.
I'm retired. Yeah, I'm retired. But
I'm retired.
but it was a good trip, and then I ended up showing up at Tucson that Sunday.
You got there on Sunday, and I had left Sunday morning and headed home because I had a private event to attend. But going back to, I got down there on Monday afternoon. I followed well, actually, I led the way most of the way. Dave Mansell, our good buddy, came down and got to hang out, and he shot, and we did some fun stuff there. Went shot some sporting clays. Randall Freston,
Yep.
R2 from Outlaw Engineering, and Coop finally showed up on Friday, but I shot a couple doubles events and uh, had broke 97 in the one, 99 in the other. I won the other one with a 99, had a loner that day, but the targets, going back to them and the way everything was set, so they went back to the bands from the Springs. Targets were good. Brett Dalton and his dad Corey were setting targets and did a wonderful job. What I saw, and like I said, I only shot doubles, and did a few little private lessons. Leanne Martin came down and shot. She had to take care of some stuff since a Bill had just passed away, and so I got her gun lined up for her, and I seen she shot the whole time, and had a good time. I think while she was there, being with some friends and such. But I thought the targets were good. The Western target is the way to be on the West Coast. I mean it. Smokes well. It throws nice, but they are sanding the arms, and they're doing the proper maintenance, what you need to do to throw a good target. So I know the attendance was down a little bit, I noticed, and it was right after Vegas, and it's hard to keep up with Vegas. I mean, Nevada's doing a banging job and such, and shameless plug, but if you guys want to grow your shoots, reach out to Shotco and Trap Talk, and we'll help you get things going. But John Slinker did a wonderful job up there, and Greg Pink from SOS, and a whole crew up there. But Tucson. I talked to a lot of people. They were happy. I talked to Alan Helfer, who's on the board, and Alan was part of the reason getting the bands back on, and everybody I talked to loved them. They loved the targets. Like I said, we went out. We shot some sporting clays. Me and Cooper and Randy on I think it was Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, Saturday. Had a great time. Coop and Randy had really never shot sporting clays, and so they enjoyed it. Coop actually did pretty good considering, he's about, uh, a quarter blind at least in his right eye, and it's taken a lot of time, and I've been working with him a lot to basically just trust his instincts, and he's shooting using his left eye, right-handed, and right eye, but it's just a lot of self-trust of,
Well, of course, yeah, no, and we'll talk a lot about Cooper more in this episode
yeah.
for sure. He shot great, so we'll definitely cover that. I think it's difficult, and the only other person I know of that does that successfully, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Mitchell Lovelace is left eye dominant, shoots right eye, and shoots with both eyes open, and just blasts them off the
I
arm.
think Mitchell uses the tube. I know, like Dusty Klein's the same way, but Dusty
Dusty,
uses the tube sight.
yeah, and I think, and then and like you said, Dusty is a
Yeah,
left eye dominant, two eyed,
Dusty.
right handed shooter, and
Shooter,
I'm like,
yeah,
how the heck do you do that? And you're just like,
but
I just look at
Dusty
the
does
target.
have. Well, Dusty has good vision of both eyes. Where folks, Cooper is colorblind, red green colorblind. He's got the issue with his right eye, being shot in his right eye, and so he's come a long ways. I mean, you ask him, "Are you seeing any better?" And he's like, a lot of floaters, and it's blood, a lot of blood in there, and so I just told him, I was like, you're gonna see streaks, you're gonna see blurred. Just trust yourself. And it's one of those target, like shoots and it breaks. It's like, oh, I broke it. And
Surprise.
that's what he has said. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's like, and we've done that, Zach, at a
Yeah,
time or two where your instinct just takes over and you
you
make
don't
the shot. You're like,
see,
oh,
you don't see
but
sometimes.
guess what? We can see. I mean, and we're not red green colorblind.
No, I got no
So,
color deficiencies in
yeah.
2010 vision, and I still have problems seeing sometimes. So imagine, you get shot in the eye, and you have to have surgery, and you have to all these things that you go through,
Well,
and
he's going to have a lifelong of stuff to deal with this. I mean, this isn't something that just corrects itself. I mean, I've tried to speak to the whole Freston family. Are close friends of ours, of Jody and ours, and Tyler and Trey, and Randy and I've known each other since 87, 88. So we go way back. And I've tried to reach out to clients and friends of friends to, like, what can we do here, hey, we replace that eye, I mean, someone goes, hey man, you can go down to Guadalajara and they'll put a new eye in for you. I'm like,
a little Tijuana trip.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
If it was you, Zach, you'd be like, I'm in, but no, and it's one of those that you like. It's like, wow. And that's all I can say, because I sat there and watched Coop shoot a couple days, and then I got out of there, and you would just, I think I was in Demi, New Mexico when I called you, and you were just rolling into Tucson,
yeah.
and I was headed home. I left my fifth wheel down there for the winter, and because we're coming back for the spring grand, and hopefully the weather will be just as nice as the autumn. I know it won't, but you can always hope.
You can always
So
hope, but it ain't gonna happen. That
it
autumn,
ain't gonna
the reason
happen.
I love the autumn so much is the weather. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
fantastic, and and I'm so proud of Coop because just to think of that for me, it would be kind of demoralizing if you've got some talent and then you're like some of it's taken away, and then you're like, okay, how do you stay positive? How do you stay mentally tough to push through that? And I'm sure there's other shooters that are dealing with it. Anybody that's listening to the podcast that's had any kind of a surgery or had any kind of a health issue, it wasn't anything that lasted forever, but when I had my Achilles tendon surgery on my left side, I couldn't push off of my left side anymore because it just wasn't there. So normally, I've got, good portion of weight on that front foot and I'm driving and pushing and pushing. Well, when I did that the first time I went back, it was like relearning to shoot. And that was at a very small level compared to what Coop's going through. And that was very, very mentally hard for me. And,
Oh,
and
I
I,
remember when you went through that.
yeah,
We shot together and you were struck, and I was like, Zach, just shoot, just relax. Don't, you know, I
well,
mean,
I had
folks,
to learn how to shoot
it
flat footed, honestly.
exactly.
And,
Yeah.
and so for the first time in my life, I was like, normally, heavy press, heavy press, heavy press, heavy press. And then I'm like, okay, well, I can't because
Lean back.
it's hurting. And so now I'm literally, not what I would teach, but like centered up, standing on the center of my feet, literally dead flat with no movement from the legs and just rotating from the top. But in doing that, I actually learned a lot of things. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can learn when I add this, it does that. Because what I actually figured out after I got back from being healed is there was times where I was putting too much weight forward and it was making my base a little wobbly, or I was off sides versus when I'm
Yeah.
perfectly leveled.
You were cantered left or
I was
right.
hanging off to one side, and if I
Yeah.
went to that side, I was good on the lefts, and then I was bad on the rights, or vice versa. There was a side that I was favoring, depending on
Yeah.
if I was scared of a bird.
Well,
Once I learned how to shoot flat-footed, then I
Yeah.
didn't have a favorable side, right? I just had a
Yeah.
this way or that way because there was no lean and there was no moving on the call.
It is, and it's one of those things, and it was a tragedy that happened to Zach. He just failed to tell everybody that he was chasing a meatball down the road. That's what Bullard and I said the whole
Hey, you
time.
know
But
what?
he was
Everybody's got to
chasing
eat.
the meatball. I was
Everybody's
chasing
got to
the
eat a
meatball.
little something, spicy meatball for you. But
Yeah, and it's one of the, so anybody out there, like Zach said, anybody out there that's had something happen, any eye stuff or any suggestions you can give that we can get to Coop and stuff, reach out to us. We'd really appreciate it. If there's some magic eye doctor out there that says, oh no, you need to do this, or because I mean, like I said, he was shot in the right side of his eye in the corner, and he's basically from what I understand, is you just take your finger and put it kind of like this up against your nose and close your eye, and he's blind right there. I mean, he can't see,
and that's a pretty
and like
important spot to
zero.
look through with a
Well,
shotgun.
exactly, because hey, you don't put a gun up like this.
No, I mean,
You mount, you look, like across your nose a little bit. So yeah, it's one of those, and I watched. I was home, for first part of the week, and then I had to leave and go out of town. But I was always watching the scores, and I was actually in an airport, and I got the call,
yeah.
and it was Coop, and he's like, "I'm tied for the handicap," and he was tied with Trey Wilburn. And I was like, oh, I said, well, just, settle down, relax, wait for him to call you for the shoot off and blah, 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 blah. And I was actually going to, and I haven't talked to Trey yet. I was going to call him, congratulate him on his shooting, but I was going to tell Coop, hey, I'm going to call Trey and tell him, man, you can put on a show for the shoot off. This kid will, he's going to beat you. He's going to demoralize you, Trey. And Trey. Trey is probably one of the toughest competitors in our sport for his background of semi-pro baseball, golfing. The
He's
guy can hit a
definitely a
golf
tough
ball,
competitor, but he's a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, there. Listen, folks, if you ever need anything, you call Trey. He'll give you the shirt off his back. That's the type of guy he is. So then I found out that he had left, and I was like, and I was gonna call Coop and be like, man, I just talked to him and he said I'm beating you, but I was like, I can't do that.
We're
So
skipping all the way to the championship events now, Rick.
wait,
We're gonna have to.
sorry.
It's okay. It happens. Ricky does. It's on Ricky's time. That's okay. Now we'll double cover it on the back end, but
That's right.
um,
So go
but
back.
that
We'll
first
start
week.
back with the high overall starting on Tuesday.
Well, on the preliminary week, do you
Okay.
know who won the high overall and the high all around on those? Because I was on
They
scoreboard and I
don't
did.
show all that. They don't show. That's one of the downsides. And I'm gonna have to talk to Greg Pink. It's his program. So we need to get a hold of Pink and say, listen. But it is one of those things. He doesn't add it in there, so I don't know. Who
I'm
won
not
that?
seeing it, and maybe we'll find it somewhere. But
It's not listed
what I
that I
do
can
see
see.
is the singles championship for the preliminary week. And so on that singles championship, there was 199s were high on the
Okay.
Saturday. Thomas Fester, Sandra Jociak, Samuel Decker, Weston Anderson, Brian Cornell, Gerald Demulian, and Mike Dennis all broke 199s.
And I think
And
Sam won that.
Sam won. Sam broke
Okay.
125 straight to win the preliminary title for the Autumn Grand Singles, and
Okay.
then runner up was it looks like Stephen Taylor. No. This isn't right. Who's the runner up? Since he was open. Oh, so since Sam was open, it went to an open shooter. So there's, I think it was potentially Derek Fisher because the 199s, every other 199 was a category. So it all.
I don't even know. Here's the deal. And the prelim stuff, I don't know how they do their trophy package. I think it's just champ and who could be runner up. But yeah, I don't. I've never really. Those were the first two events I'd ever shot in the prelim week because usually I'm teaching
You're
the
always
whole.
busy. We know that.
Yeah.
But the
So
doubles championship on the preliminary week, the main shooters were Colton Tucker broke a lone 100. Justin Ballantyne from Missouri, shout out to him. He broke a 99. It was a lone 99, so he had no shoot off. And our good friend Sean Hawley won AAA with a 98. So that was nice and easy, 199.98. And then
yeah.
on the handicap on Sunday for the preliminary, I know Britt Dalton won it, but I'm trying to find what event that was. Event 13, I think. No.
See, Zach, you're supposed to know all these things prior, but
You know, I should, but as late in the day as it is, sometimes you just got to do it
it is
as you.
pretty late, folks. Just so y'all are aware, it
Ricky's
is
been
11 p.m. in Florida.
Ricky's been teaching all day, so
I
we had
have
to give
had
him a
dinner
little bit of.
reservations tonight with my wonderful group. A few of us went out, so
This is going to be a part where John edits it out. Sorry, John.
John's always got to edit. If you just yeah.
Just a percentage point. All right. So I'm seeing on the preliminary handicap event 12, Britt Dalton won with a 97,
Okay.
and it looks like Brad Johnson was runner up with a 96.
Brad
And
from Canada.
Harlan and Justin Ballantyne also tied with a 96, and in the shoot off, Brad Johnson actually won, and Harlan ended up winning 27-yard champion. So, and it's definitely. I heard it was a little more salty on Sunday on the handicap. The wind was blowing around a little bit. That's what I heard. I wasn't there. I was driving in.
I wasn't there either.
So you never really know. But moving on to the main week.
So the overall started on Tuesday.
Correct. And I'm not going to cover every single event. I was just going to cover the
We'll just
championships.
cover. Let's just jump to the championship event.
The championship events,
That's-
and then the
yeah.
the all around
All-around
and the overall. So the doubles championship for the Autumn Grand in the main week, and before we get into the scores there, I just want to say that the weather was perfect this week at Tucson. So as far as getting a good week, I mean that flagpole didn't step up at all until we got to Sunday. Sunday was the only day that I really felt like we had any major wind. But I had the pleasure of shooting pretty much clean all week when it comes to weather. We didn't really get rained on. We didn't really have any major issues. Throughout the week, I can say we personally didn't ever have a machine run out of targets. The scorekeepers were good at doing their job this week. The thing that I really liked was, the water bottles they always have in the background in the coolers. I mean, that was a benefit. Obviously, everybody likes drinking.
Yeah, every trap field at Tucson has a cooler with water in it.
And that's a big thing. So it's like asking like the little things that matter. That's
staying hydrated because it's always hot. I mean, it was when I was there, it was 90s in that prelim week early on. It was warm, So
It was very, very, very warm, and I think people sometimes forget to drink water, and I think just having it behind you and
yeah,
always being able to grab it is
I'm
really
always drinking
helpful.
water.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's brown water, but it's
It's
water.
you're drinking the most sterile. It's sterile and sanitary. It doesn't have any germs in it.
Hey, listen, here's the thing. It's made with water.
It has water in it. Kentucky water, but it's good. It's good. It's good water. So, Rick, I really think that gun fit's probably the most important part of shooting big scores. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think gun fit is the most important thing.
I mean, most of the top All-Americans are shooting custom stocks. I know when I got my custom stock, my scores went up. I broke 100 strips and 27 within 7 days. I mean, I'm sure your experience has been similar.
Yeah, I've been shooting a custom gun stock for 20 years. Winnig, if you want to win championships, get a Winnig gun stock.
Yeah, call Bobby, call Luke. I mean, we got the Stock Whisperer over there, Bill. Give them a shot. They're great, and they know what they're doing.
Absolutely. Winnig.com. Check them out.
You know, Rick, I know you've had a lot of involvement with them since the beginning, since they started, but I really love the way that the shot tracker, catches the doubles from shot to shot with the looping. Tell the folks what they need to know about that system.
It's the best system out there. It's like having a coach on the end of your barrel, like we say, but going, especially in doubles, from first shot to second shot. You can see it on the graph. You can see it on video.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about that J-hook with Sean Hawley and all of them, I mean, it'll literally show that loop, and I think that's really powerful if you're doing it. They've supported the show since the beginning. They love trap shooting. They're great people. Give them a shot, folks. They make a great product.
Take Aim Technologies.
Rick, I just love having the peace of mind of knowing that if I'm traveling or I'm flying, something happens, I can get my Winnig and my Krieghoff replaced quickly and easily without costing me a bunch of money.
Yeah, exactly. The gun and trophy insurance, it's the best out there to insure your guns, insure your trophy animals, everything.
Thank you to the whole Cushman family for supporting the show and everything they do for trap shooting.
Absolutely. Get a hold of Cole Cushman and he'll get you set up.
So when we get to the doubles, there was 300s in doubles. It was Bob Robertson, Eric Munson, and John Mullins. And these are all friends of ours. I mean, we know all three of them. They're all great shooters. And Munson ended up winning champion. John Mullins ended up winning runner up, and then Bob Robertson won sub vet champion.
Category.
So
yeah,
for the classes, Colton Tucker won AAA. Benjamin Larson won AA, which I was surprised to see him because he hasn't really shot a bunch.
Ben Oy shows up in Tucson. Great young man. He's got a couple kids now and married, and so it's always great. I wish I could have been there to see Ben. It's always a nice time to.
He's a good guy. I love seeing him. John Kirksley won A class. Herb Jones won B class. Our friend Nader wins again. He won the C class with the 96.
Nader.
He's winning silver bullets.
Nader,
he's winning doubles.
What are you doing in C class,
Nader? He's taking out class
on.
purses left and right. I mean, we love Nader.
We're gonna have to send an investigation out on Nader.
Nah, he deserved it. He shot like an 86 the doubles before that, so it was okay. Keith Barton won D class for the junior. Weston Anderson, which I got to shoot with Weston all week long. I had a lot of fun shooting with him. That was my first time shooting with him, and he shot great. Cole Henning won the junior gold. Rayleigh Bishop won the lady 1. And lady 2 was Betty Peterson. Sub junior was Chase Doborinsky. Senior vet was Greg Holden. Sub vet, obviously, Robertson with the 100. And then vet was William Sales. And I will say, that was a 99.
Sales.
William Sales, Bill Sales with the 99, which is pretty impressive shooing. So congratulations to everyone in the doubles event. Moving on to the singles event, there was, I believe, 9 200s or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8. Well, we were
1,
close.
2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, they pulled it double down because Rich Bullard and Aaron Wilby are listed here twice.
So 7.
8. So 8 200s. 8 200s total. It was Troy, and I forgive me if I didn't say this right. Kienitz, Kienitz, Lewis,
Nothing. Go ahead.
Louis Malsani, Herb Jones, Justin Ballantyne from Missouri, Mike Grady, the one and only Richard Bullard Jr. And I had the pleasure.
He only lasted. Listen, we can go on about him. He only lasted one round of the shoot off. I heard. So, yeah.
It was impressive though because I was shooting with
There's
him on
no
the same squad,
impressiveness.
and the last 50 we had a little bit of turbulence, and he stuck in there. So I got to give him a shout out. Aaron Willoughby broke a 200, and then I also broke a 200. After the first 125 birds, it was just me and Mike Grady. And then on the Grady missed on the next box.
And you missed right after.
And I followed him right down the rabbit hole, folks. I mean, he missed that thing. We both missed on the same post. He missed the first one out on the post, and I missed the last one out on the post. And I asked him why he missed his, and he said he couldn't see. And he asked me why I missed mine, and I said I couldn't see it either because it was that quarter left on 2, and it was kind of in that hard to see area of the world. But got through that. Once we both missed, then we were both locked in, and we went another 5 boxes. So it was 10 boxes total.
I thought it was 225.
It says 225 on this thing, but I counted my boxes. It was.
Well, listen, I know how you count, so I'm going with what it says, folks.
In the shoot-off sheet, it says I went 25, 24, 24, 25, 25, 25. So I know this thing's wrong because.
Well, they just got the order wrong.
They got the order all messed up.
Listen, I was getting the play-by-play per round, and I'm going with 225.
I know it was 250 because I had to buy 250 shells from Rich Bullard, and it was very expensive. He charged me 200 double cost on these shells. He says if you want them, he says they're $20 a box instead of 10. I said this is complete crap. So that's the only reason. That's the only reason why
you should have said, Rich, listen, you only used one box. You should be happy that I'm out here promoting.
I should have hit him with the RB08 special that he hit you with in the beginning of your guys' relationship and said, hey, I know you're not going to need those shells anymore. Can I borrow them?
Shut up.
That would have
been great.
That'd have been epic. But yeah, so 10 boxes, and I ended up winning.
You won. Now Grady felt a category.
He did. So and then runner up, I believe was Willoughby.
Okay.
So no, it was Valentine. So he won the flip. So it was Willoughby and Valentine, and then the flip off. He took him out at the knees. So double A winner was Troy with that 200. Donald Larbage broke a 197 and 1A class. Colin Crum broke a 196 and 1B class. Lloyd Cote won C class. Daniel Lefantansi broke a 196 and 1D class. Lady 1 was Alexis Fernan. Sandra Jo Jack was Lady 2. Herb Jones was our runner-up because Richard Bullard had the 24 in the shoot-off. So Rich Bullard was our sub-vet champion. Congratulations. Mike Grady won vet. Louis Malsani won senior vet with a 200. Weston Anderson won junior with a 199. Seeing the trend here, he won both weeks. Lucas Stanford won junior gold with a 195 and a shoot-off. And Chase Doborinsky won sub-junior both weeks in a row with a 199. So that concludes the champions for the singles. Moving on to our handicap, and this is the story that Ricky kind of covered in the beginning. But it's
going right to, you know what? You can win those other events, but the handicap's the one that matters.
It's the one that everyone cares about. So
HOA and the HAA, then goes the handicap.
Cooper,
then the doubles, and then the singles kind of counts.
Nobody even cares about the singles.
Congratulations though to you, Zach. You shot good. I heard you were locked in after you went down the rabbit hole following Grady. But
yeah, I felt like I just needed more practice. So I figure if I miss one, we can go out there a few more boxes. I didn't expect to win after I missed one, but hey,
you did not think that. I know you.
Hey, you know me. But moving on to the handicap, Cooper Freston broke a 97. And as we know from this episode, he's got a lot going on. He broke it, and our good friend Trey Wilburn broke 97 also.
Yep. And Trey ran the back 50. I know that because I looked that up.
And
Trey
I knew
50, and Cooper ran the middle 50, and then he went 4-4 to start out. And he said, I could say he shot in the rain, the wind. So, literally, hands down, that's a stellar score in those conditions. And he
It,
got
it
a yard and a half.
it really
So
is. He can
he's
shoot.
on the,
He can
he's
shoot with
on
the
the
big dog squad now.
25 and a half. So I told Coop that, he's always, more than welcome to shoot. Now he's going to get back there and, beat up on Randall.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But what I can say is, when I got done, we were the first squad out, and Trey, well, second squad out. Apologies. And Trey Wilburn was like the second squad out also. So he was done, and
Yep.
he drove by me and said, "How'd you shoot?" And I said, "I had 94. What'd you shoot?" And he said, 97. And I'm getting the heck out of here. So he literally was slinging gravel, like literally. I'm walking. I'm walking. Yeah, he drove all the way back. So
Yeah.
he told me he wasn't staying, and he didn't honestly think that he was going to win with the 97 because he was the first squad out. So we were the first scores posted, but he was gone. So I knew that he was gone before really anybody knew that he was gone. And then, like, I talked to Randy, and when I figured out that Coop had the 7, I told Randy, I said, "Hey, if Coop stays high with the 7, he's going to win because Trey's not here." I said, "Don't tell him, but go down that hole and see." And so once it got finalized, they were the only 297s. I called Trey one more time just to make sure he wasn't coming back, and he said, "Yeah, man, I'm 5 hours away." So
he was already in freaking New Mexico.
He was
in the
he was
middle.
past Las Cruces. He says, "I am coming back no matter what." So then it was cool because Coop, walked up with the shells in his bag, and we're all standing there, and he went to go check in for his shoot off, and as soon as he went to check in, they're like, "You won. It's over." The other guy forfeited, and he, like, you could see his eyes went up, and he got all excited, and then we went over and got his buckle together and did a little interview real quick for just a little
I know. I
release
was
for
giving
John.
him crap. I said you should have declined all interviews. Say, folks, sorry.
No, I say get every interview you can, and he got this big, beautiful buckle. We were really, really proud of him. That's
awesome.
his first satellite grand title for Open, which is a hard feat. I know
one of many, I'm sure.
I'm sure one of many, but there's a lot of people that have shot this game for a very long time and never won a satellite grand title. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to do. I mean, I think obviously in level of difficulty, grand titles are the hardest to get, and then I think probably your satellite titles are right up there as the next hardest thing to get. So for runner up, it ended up being Colton Tucker, who won in a shoot off because Trey forfeit and dropped down to his category, which was sub vet. Lady 1 was Lexi Henning with a 96. Pam Wright was tied with a 92 to Kimberly Iden, and she forfeit, so Kimberly ended up winning. Trey Wilburn won sub vet outright. Billy Pierce won senior vet with a 96. And then for vet, Todd Whitaker broke a 95 and won champion for veteran. For junior, Western Anderson with a 95. Cole Henning again with a 96, and Brian Holmberg won the sub junior with a 91. So that was all good scores. Good ranges. Everyone shot well that day. I mean, like I said, the targets were a little bit up and down. Getting to the Ohio round, Trey Wilburn was the champion with a 394 out of 400. So he shot fantastic, and he didn't even tie anyone. He was ahead of the field by 2 birds. I got AAA champion with a 392. 392 was the next high score on the grounds. Corey Dalton won double A with a 389. Tex Hollis won with a 384. Shout out to Tex for throwing leather all around the country. Frank Clark won with a 379 on B class. Ron Todd won with a 375 in C class. Daniel LaFontancy won D class with a 371. Shelby Skaggs won Lady 1 champion with a 389. Sandra Jo Jack, Lady 2 champion, 381. Bernie Merkowicz shot a 392, so he tied for second high score.
There's a
but
few of you. I thought,
there was
wasn't
a
there?
few of us. It was me, Bernie Merkowitz, and Weston Anderson that all had 392s. But
Yeah.
thankfully, they're all categories, so I don't have to deal with them. They just kind of skittered on over to their own spot, and that was easy for me. So Tim Robb won the senior vet with a 385. Bill Sales won, or nope, Bill Sales forfeit. He was tied with Mr. Dean Townsend and Mike Grady, and he forfeit, and it looks like Dean Townsend won the shoot-off over Mike Grady. Weston Anderson won the junior. Junior gold was Cole Henning, and sub-junior was Chase Doberinsky. So congratulations to all the all-around shooters.
All-arounds.
I mean, and we've seen a lot of familiar names on that list. I mean, Weston shot great all week long. He was pretty much, he won the overall, which we're getting to
Yeah.
now. He had a
Well,
he had
let's
a
get
10,
into that overall.
1077.
Don't spoil it.
Rick, when you're walking down the line, you see smoke ball after smoke ball after smoke ball. What are you thinking in your head?
I'm thinking there's some good set targets, and they got to be a white flyer.
They got to be white flyer. I mean, we were just at Nevada State shoot. We were shooting these things from the 27-yard line. They looked like 16-yard smoke balls, and I'm like, only a white flyer can smoke like that, and we love them, and they've been supporting the show since day one.
That's right. Thanks for all the support, white flyer.
Rick, I was at the Autumn Grand and the Nevada State shoot, and I was just really impressed with how I could see where my squad was, when I was up, just the technology, the ability to be able to see what options I've played, if the event's paid or not. I mean, what's your experience with the app?
Listen, SOS Clay's app, it's the best thing out there, folks. You can see everything. It's great. You can see your option payouts. You can see when you're up. You can see who's paid on your squad. Sometimes Zach doesn't pay on time, but
I get out there. But what I really think is for gun clubs, it's free. Call Greg, get a hold of him. He'll set you up. He'll get you running right. And if you pay the premium once a year, you get free pre-squatting in all the shoots, and that's the best value in trap shoot.
Absolutely. SOSClays.com.
Hey, folks, we really want to thank Remington for supporting the show since day one. I've been shooting the STS ounce and eighth light eights for singles and doubles, and the Nitro 27 from the 27-yard line, ounce and eighth 7.5s. They make a great product. You should give them a try. And as always, thank you for the support. Hey, Rick, we got to take a second. We got to thank Outlaw Engineering and the Freston family for supporting trap shooting and supporting Trap Talk podcast. They've been here for us. They're great people. You know them real well, Rick.
Yeah, I've known Randy since 1988, R2 and the family. They're a great supporter of the show. Coop just won the Autumn Grand Handicap Championship with a 97.
I know, I was there. I got to interview him. It was great. I was so proud of him. He's doing a great job. Hashtag where's Coop? He's somewhere with that big buckle. He's having
That's
fun.
right.
That's right. You need anything engineering related, get a hold of Outlaw. They'll take great care of you. Great folks.
Thanks for all the support, Outlaw.
1077 out of 1100. So he shot fantastic. He was our champion. I got AAA champion with a 1075. Then Brad Johnson got AA with a 1065. Lexi Henning with a 1050 for A class. Frank Clark with a 1050 for B class. Jerry Broston with a 1015 for C class. Daniel LaFontanzi, he won D class in the overall and the all around with a 996. Alexis won Lady 1 with a 1071, which she shot fantastic all week. I got to give her a shout out on that. I mean, she was right there going into the handicap on Sunday with pretty much everyone. Sandra Jo Jack shot a 1042 for Lady 2 champion. Bernie Merkowitz shot fantastic. He had a 1072. He was right up there. Tim Robb, 1063, senior vet champion. Bill Sales won the vet with a 1067, which, I mean, he's just an all-around consistent shooter all the time. For where he's at, he's always competitive. Junior Rory Lee, our good friend, he broke a 1,055. So congratulations to you for that, Rory. Junior gold, no surprise. Cole Henning with a 1066, and sub junior with a 1057, no surprise. Chase Doberinsky. It was a lot of great scores, a lot of great targets. It was definitely a good shoot, and I know a lot of people were upset about the bands the way they were with the steel bands and the targets, and there was a lot of complaining. And
they're not bands, they're springs.
Yeah, springs, and then going to the bands, and a lot of people were upset about that. And I think they've rectified the situation, which I think that's very, very helpful, and I think that a lot of people love that. The other thing I know that made a lot of people happier is I know that for a portion, they had contemplated taking the options out of the program and took them out, and then added them back in. And I know there was a lot of shooters that were really upset that the options were gone, and then they made the right decision in my mind and put those options back into the program
Yeah,
so that people
you
can play.
gotta you literally. I don't know why clubs that do that. I'll be honest with you. I mean, their options. Let the shooters decide what they want to play. And if you say, "Nah, we don't want to do it," then your attendance is going to drop drastically. I
Yeah.
mean, you gotta start doing stuff for the shooters. Trophy packages need to step up at these shoots, and you know, I get it for what they're charging. I mean, at all these shoots,
Yes.
it's. I mean, we got to kind of look around and say, people aren't wanting these little trinkets anymore.
No. You want to make it worth your while, and I think we're going to have the King for a Day episode. We're going to talk a lot about what people's suggestions are on
Oh yeah,
how
there's
you can
some
fix things.
good
But
comments on there.
there's a lot of clickbait going on there. But we'll get through it hopefully and touch on the things that are reasonable. But I think for clubs moving forward, you really have to offer an options package. If there's shooters that want to shoot for options, give them that opportunity. It's only one click of the button, especially if you're running SOS. I mean, it's one click of the button to run it and handle it for the shooters so that they can
Yeah.
have something to shoot for. Taking all the options out, I mean, I know there was a lot of people that said they would never come back, and then they reverted, they fixed it, and they did the right thing. They didn't run the whole week and leave it wrong.
Well,
So
there was some shooters I know that were in Vegas that did not show up because of it. They
100%.
just they went home and they were like, no, and so even after they changed it, but kudos to them for doing it, and they're going to look at their spring grant options. I told a couple of the directors that, I gave them some thoughts on what I would put in, and and it's not high gun purses, it's do percentages, and the Great Eastern Purse, the 6-way, it's one of the best purses out there.
Yeah, I think you really have to
So,
have that. I think the days of the high gun purse, they're dying.
so
I mean,
it's
they're
over.
just kind of
No,
dying, and they had them there at Tucson. Honestly, I hit it twice. I was happy to hit it.
yeah, I
Um,
noticed on a couple of the option. Well, they didn't have high gun purses according to the option list. It wasn't, and it was printed out as high gun or paid out as high gun. And I kind of wondered on that. I was going to do a little investigating and talk to Greg Pink about it because if it's
well,
listed in your program, you need to pay it out that way.
well, the program was only listed with the ones with no options, and that was the one that actually went out to everyone. And then they did the reprint, and
But it
I
wasn't. I've got the reprint, and I didn't see it on there.
Yeah, I didn't even look. I just seen high gun and I clicked them all. So you know me. But Ricky's the one that looks at the details on that stuff. He, he's always good at looking. But overall, it was a good shoot. I think it was a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
I would recommend it. I would say that Tucson is still a premier facility for
Oh
shooting
yeah.
trap. And if you haven't shot the spring grand or the autumn grand, I would probably lean you to the autumn grand because of the weather. But the
The
spring
spring
grand
grand's
is
larger.
the spring is obviously bigger. The spring is
Yeah,
a
there's going to be more for people chasing All American points. The spring grand is going to be your bigger shoot.
spring's going to be
Um,
bigger. The problem with the spring is you never know what you're going to get in February in Tucson. You could get
yeah.
good weather, you could get cold weather, you could get rain, you can get wind, you can get whatever. So if you're
You know
okay
the
with
good thing is, I got a camper down there, so I can
yeah,
go in it after we're done shooting.
yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine one way or the other. But
Zach, you'll
I
be stuck in his car going, what about that? No.
no, I'll just come hang out with you. I'll be like, hey partner, how you doing?
Yeah, hey
You'll
buddy.
be
No, out.
whenever I don't have an RV and Ricky's there with an RV, he's my very best friend again. I'm like, hey, how you been, buddy?
Hey buddy. You better bring some good bourbon. That's all I
And
gotta say.
and then when I got my fifth wheel at the shoot and he's there, I'm like, I don't even know that guy.
Yeah. So I'm just telling you, listen, for the next trip to the Spring Grand, you better bring that old rip. That's all I'm saying.
The rip better be coming. But yeah, it was a great time, folks. I think Tucson is doing everything they can to cater to the shooters and to work on the issues of the past. And so every gun club goes through highs and lows and valleys and things
Yep.
like that. But Tucson is a facility that we definitely don't want to lose. And
No, not
I
at
will
all.
say I do want to give a shout out to Leanne Martin. She did put the Martin Lewis again, and I know a lot of people really were thankful for that. So thank you, Leanne, for doing that. Bill's
And Leanne,
ceremony.
Leanne WD and Denton, as it said in the program, you know, wonderful family, great people. They've done so much for the shooting sports, especially, Bill was just passionate about shooting sports, and Leanne said, I talked to Leanne and she did it for the autumn and the spring. So there will be a Martin Lewis at the Spring Grand. And, so if you guys can, if you ever see Leanne, just, thank her for she's continuing on what Bill started and she's got a tough road ahead. It's tough losing your loved one you've been with for God
Forever.
30 40 years,
Yeah.
that's always a tough thing but they've done so much for shooting sports, so
They
we
really
want to give
have,
a shout out and
and
thank
they
them
they
for
never
that.
stopped. And Bill was an amazing guy. And I will say I was sad on the single shoot off night because I was in the shoot off, and that was Bill's little ceremony that they had at the clubhouse where
Yeah.
it was free steak dinner for everyone. It was yeah, and obviously bar was open. And there was so many people there, and it reminded me of a Bill party. Like, it was
Oh
like
yeah.
Vernal. It was like Vernal back in the day. Like everybody was there. There was not a single person that didn't stay for that free steak that night. And everybody was in the clubhouse and it was jumping. And I'd get done with a round and I'd look back and it was just rolling in there. So, I know that's how he would have wanted to celebrate it. Whiskey pouring, beers pouring, and everybody out there having a good time. And
Yep.
it was kind of funny because his memorial sign was right on the right side of my shoot off field. So I was like, every time I'd looked over, I'd see old Bill on the thing, and I'd say, "Hey, Bill," and just start get back to shooting. So it was nice. I got to shoot with Bill quite a bit. I shot with him in San Antonio for several
Yep.
years, and shot with him in Utah and some other places around the country. Shot with him in Kingsburg. The very, very first time I shot with him was at the Eldorado shoot in Las Vegas, and I
Okay.
actually won the Eldorado doubles that day, and it was my first. It was one of my first really big doubles wins. Because they did 150 doubles, so it was 50,
Yeah.
50,
Yeah.
50,
50 50
and
50. Yep.
and I won it, and I have the buckle to this day. It's a memory to mine. And Bill's got done, and he says, "Man," he says, "anybody that can shoot a Ludic that good at doubles can shoot with me anytime." And I said, I said, "Well, I'd love to shoot with you, Bill." And we had a
Yeah.
great.
He was fun to shoot with. I shot with him at every, Unitah Basin shoot and the Western Grand and Western Grands that were in Salt Lake City. We shot Spokane, San Antonio. We shot a lot of places, Florida, and you know, um, he was on the squad when I broke the 4x4, and he said them choice words, "Don't f this up," when I had
Yeah,
five
that
to go. And that was
sounds like
Bill.
Bill. Sounds like Bill.
Exactly, and
He didn't
he was
mince
always a
words.
hoot to shoot with. I taught WD and Leanne and even did some lessons with Jay Lee, his daughter and Dubs' sister, and this is a great family. I
They're
mean,
great. They're great people.
he'll be
They're the
missed,
best of
and
people, and they would do anything for you, and they'd
yeah,
they'd help you out any way they
anything for
can.
the
And
shooting sports. I mean, look, they Bill and Leanne donated $1 million to the Hall of Fame, so shout out to them, and we appreciate everything, and hopefully they'll continue to shoot, and we'll see them in Tucson in the spring.
for sure, for sure, I'm looking forward to the spring already. Now that it's November, there's not really a shoot in sight anywhere that I can think of other than the Spring Grand. We're
Yep, that'd be the next one.
probably gonna end up at Shot Show, but we'll kind of have to see how that works out.
Yeah, I might be there just a day or two. We're taking a family vacation, and then literally right after that weekend, I'm leaving for a hunt in Texas. But a group of us are going. Joey Charner goes one of them. So we're gonna go down and have a good time and do some fun stuff.
Right,
So
fun stuff is what we do here at Trap Talk. So,
That's
I
right.
appreciate everyone tuning in and listening on our recap episode. If you have any questions, send them in. Like, share, subscribe. Wear your Trap Talk gear proud. We really appreciate you guys. You guys make it worth the time. We put a lot of time and effort into this, and we do it to help. So, we appreciate you for everything that you do, and thank you all for the kind words all the time.
Yeah, remember, you can get your merch at...
Hey, folks, if you're wondering where you can get your merch, head on down to shop.traptalkpodcast.com.
Yes, folks, you can get hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts. They even have a ladies' tank, shooters towels. We might have some new stuff coming out for the 2026 year. Who knows? Be prepared.
We got all the swag. Head on down to the website. Thank you so much for being Trap Talk supporter.
Thanks, everyone.
Ricky, I know you used it on your barrels, but do you even know what RGS stands for?
No, Zach, what does it stand for?
Really good.
Well, that is true. It is good stuff, folks. I use it to clean my barrels, and it does make them shine.
Only problem is I wear white T-shirts when I clean my barrels, and I get them all messy, so I got to be better at that, but it gets all the plastic, all the gunk out. Give them a try, folks. They're great.
That's right. Give RGS a try. We appreciate all the support.
But hey, we appreciate everything. If you guys got any questions, send them in.
Well, we'll see you all soon. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Friday.
Good luck, everyone.
And the Trap Talk podcast is brought to you in part by
RM Shooting Clinics. Have Ricky take your game to the next level. If you want to shoot hundreds, give Ricky a call today. Zach Nannini Financial. We believe in putting people first.